What's up, nerds? Welcome to Mush Brains. I'm Gerald, and today we're going to be diving into a new segment I'm referring to as Gerald's Games. Now, this has nothing to do with the Stephen King novel. No weird BDSM undertones here, unfortunately. But this is going to be my chance to dive into my backlog and kind of talk to you about if it's a game that you should pick up or should pass on. I think it's going to be fun. I hope we enjoy it. So, before I dive into this first episode, I have a confession to make to all of you, and that is, I am a weeb. I know. It was shocking to me as much as it probably is to you, and that's because I listen to music in English. I don't really care for much anime. I don't have any pillows or figurines of waifus. As a matter of fact, I still prefer flesh and blood women. DMs are open. But I realized that I was a weeb after, my roommate, he got me some Persona 5 stuff for Christmas. The last physical media I bought was an anime called Paranoid Agent. You should go check that out. And it dawned on me that even though I'm not, Naruto running around Pokemon competitions or anything, I am, in fact, a weeb. So, the reason I bring that up is today we're diving into a game that I've been struggling with a good name for it. I think me and the marketing team came upon Weeb Souls, Prepare to Kawaii. Or Code Vein, as it's called, amongst the rest of the world. It's a similar game to a Dark Souls or a Demon Souls. Something like that, where it's all about rolling and stamina and all of that. Plays very similarly if you've played any of those before. Let's go ahead and take a look at it and talk about why I like or dislike this game.
Think back. Search your memory for an image of yourself.
So upon booting this game up, I was greeted with an old friend / nemesis called the character creation screen. Now, I'm the type of guy, I used to spend hours just making these stupid wrestlers in the WWE games just so I can, go run around and body slam people. So when I saw the level of customization in this game for creating your own little character, it was a little daunting. There's a lot going on here. Probably one of the most in-depth character creators I've ever seen. I will say that it's all very anime, yet again, which is not bad. But if you've ever thought about, how big you wanted to make your waifu's boobies, well, this is the game for you. And I can't say I struggled with that any longer than I struggled with, Penis 1 or 2 in Cyberpunk, but very similar system here. Of course, I wanted to make the most true to me character I could, something that encapsulated who I am. And that's why we ended up with an S&M goth waifu. Hey, it's to be expected with me. Now, character creation aside, of course, we're learning the systems, we're kind of beating some stuff up. And one of the first things you notice is, yes, it controls very much like a Souls game. If you've played any Dark Souls, Bloodborne, anything like that, you're going to feel at home in this series. And the levels are, not quite as fleshed out with the whole wrapping around on themselves as you would find from a FromSoft's game. And not everyone can have that level of, exploration. So that's okay. That's fine. Another thing I noticed was things like your backstabs. And, backstabs were a lot easier to pull off. Parries, not so much. The parry timing is really weird with the way they do it in this game. So instead of having all of these complicated armor pieces and whatnot to mix and match with and try to put everything together, you only have one thing that could be considered armor, and that's what they refer to as blood veils. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of stuff, and it also affects how you parry. It's kind of rad. A little oversimplified, but I like that about it. With the way that they have their leveling in their class system, you don't have any classes or anything. You have blood codes, which are the blood memory of different characters and such like that. It's kind of weird. Of course, the plot and explanation and glossary and everything are going to be a little bit weird because it's an anime game. It's very much anime. But I liked it because it allows you to go through. You unlock a new blood code. You can go through and unlock new abilities. Whichever one you have equipped is the one that you have access to those abilities without having to unlock them, I guess you could say, or have them mastered. On top of that, your stats are changed depending on which blood code you use. So if you want to run around wielding, a giant sword, then you're going to need a blood code that is made for that. Overall, not a bad system. Gives a little bit of depth to it, and it's not quite the put a stat here, put a stat there as you go that you would find from a FromSoft game, and I like that a little bit. Because instead you're putting money into skills instead of these stats. So if you want to change your stats, just change your code. Now, going into this game, I didn't find it too terribly difficult. It's not as punishing as one of FromSoft's games, and I was really digging that. It's you can go through. There are times where you might have to manage your health a little bit or play it safe. What you would expect, and I'm okay with that. The bosses. As much as I hate to say it, the main problem with the boss fights that you'll find in this game, and I'm not going to spoil any of them for you, but once you go in and die once, you learn how to go at them the second time. And by that I mean, oh, here's the poison boss. Let me go in with some antidotes or an antidote skill equipped. Here's a slow boss. Let me equip a skill that allows me to negate the slow effect. Things like that. And that's fine. It's just expect that first death at least, and then beyond that, you'll have no real issues. The only problem I had with the difficulty is that it was, not terribly hard. It's once you get overwhelmed with a bunch of enemies on screen, of course, that's whenever it becomes a little bit more difficult. But this game took a little bit too much from Dark Souls, and where I ended up kind of just falling off with the game itself was once I got to this new area that is not Anne Orlando at all, even though, it's definitely... Okay, so they ripped off Anne Orlando from Dark Souls, and by that I mean it's both in design and where the difficulty spikes. They start throwing enemies at you that are crazy, and maybe it's just one of the invasions, because the invasions work a little bit differently in this game. It's not just one dude running at you and blah blah blah. You get waves upon waves of these enemies whenever you get invaded. And maybe once I got past that invasion and got back to a few more like 1-on-2, 1-on-3 battles, it'd be fine. But at that point it was just so brutal and so punishing that I didn't want to bash my head against that wall too much longer. I'll probably come back to this game. It's fun, it's cute, it's very anime, like I said, so if you're the type that doesn't want to see bounce physics in your characters, then maybe avoid it. But all in all, I would say that you should probably, if you're interested in something like this, do what I did, and that's wait for a sale. You don't have to go out and buy this at full price, but it was on the winter sale. I grabbed it for maybe $20 or so, and I feel like I've got my $20 worth out of it already. I'll probably put more time into it whenever things kind of die down, but there's a few more things coming out now that have my attention, so buy it, dive into it, and see if you like it. I had a good time with it, and I hope y'all do too. So thanks for tuning in to the first episode of Gerald's Games, the place where I get to use this as an excuse to dive into my backlog. Hopefully I'll be doing a lot more of these in the future, and just kind of giving you my ideas on games. They're not all going to be weeb trash, but don't blame me. Until next time, guys, thanks for tuning in. Stay sane, stay safe. We'll see you in the